Okay, I think it went live on the YouTube. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Yeah, they're saying it's live right now. Can you check the Twitch side? Is it on?
Don't see anything Twitch side.
Refresh just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get...
Nope, you're still showing offline as far as Twitch goes.
Okay, so it looks like it worked. Cool.
But I don't see you live on my YouTube.
You don't see it live on YouTube?
But I could just be being a dummy. But when I go to your channel and go to live, this channel has no video.
Well, people are checking Twitch for me, and they don't. As long as it's not.
Wait. There it is. Okay.
Oh, you found it? You found it? Okay.
Yeah, you're there. I see the Corvanus map.
All right, cool. And Twitch is not on right now, right?
As of right now, Twitch is not on. I'll refresh it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Because... Yeah. All right, cool. Can you say something in chat with your YouTube identity, Kate, so I can make you a mod? If I can figure out what to...
Yes. It's Alex Fisher.
Add as moderator. I'll make you a managing moderator. And I'll make Waymaker a mod so he can shut people the fuck up.
Hell yeah.
Good. Okay, it looks like it's working. Still nothing on Twitch?
Still nothing on Twitch.
Alright. Tell me if you see anything on Twitch. So I can immediately end it, because I don't want to get banned.
Yep.
Alrighty. Okay, well, I guess that's that. I'll go get to that streaming stuff.
Alright, have fun, sir.
Thanks, bud. I'll move you back down
anytime.
for you. Okay. Now that that's done, I can make the announcement. Is there a URL link for you guys? We're streaming on YouTube. I'm trying to see if there's like a link I could put. Via the link in the announcement tab. There's an announcement tab? Oh, shit. It did it automatically through the bot. That's awesome. Okay, so there we go. That looks good. That's showing the wrong thing. That's showing my sick background and my messy as fuck desktop. Okay, there we go. This looks good. This looks pretty good. Looks like it's working. Am I coming through okay, everybody? Like, is my my mic coming through okay or whatever? We're good on that end? Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm still sending out notices and stuff. Making sure everything's good before I really get into the meat and potatoes. Oh, that's some... All right, now we're going to do... Now we're going to do this. Do you guys hear this? Amazing. All right. Give me just a second to go to the bathroom. I'm going to let this play a little bit. And then we're going to go over all kinds of Corvanus stuff. So I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, can you guys hear me? How does that sound? Is the music still like controlled and you guys can hear me and everything? All right. So I'm still a little worried about the mic and stuff like that. Music is too low. All right. Then we'll keep it there if I want to jam a little bit. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get this party started. This is the oh, hold on, let me do this for ooh, actually, do I hit cam? Ah, there we go. Okay, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the first YouTube stream. I have no idea how this is going to work or if even anybody's going to see this, but here we go. We're going to try it out. We have a couple mods in chat that I just made today, but we're really new to everything, so, you know, we're still trying to figure out all this stuff. So I'm going to presume that everybody can hear me and that it sounds great. Now, there's lots of stuff that we get to go over today. Today I'm going to be doing a lore tour of Corvanus. And then once we get through the whole tour, then I'm probably going to take questions and, you know, all that good stuff. And we'll make sure that we can fill out some, you know, get this Q&A sheet filled out. And then I'll probably try to transfer that into a frequently asked questions and then put that on the Discord. So the questions you ask here are not only for you, but for other people as well. So, last thing I can do is, some water. I need some water. My voice is going to crack without some water. I'll be right back. Let me get some water. 2 seconds. Okay. So first things first, I want to test out is how the YouTube chat works. Actually, before that, some of you have the Twitch chat open and make sure that it's not accidentally streaming to Twitch, because I don't want to break my contract and get banned. So there's that. But so keep an eye on that as well. First thing, can somebody at my name? I want to see if it still pops up and highlights, so I know what the questions are in case a lot of people talk. Okay, it totally does. All right, good. Good. So that's the format that we'll use for questions, is that if you have any questions, you can just at me and boom, 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 bam. I shitted. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm sure you guys got lots of questions. Also, some of the ways I'm going to talk about this are so that the editors can take certain pieces and like help make a video out of this. So that's another thing as well. So some of the ways I'll talk about this might seem a little like wordy or unnecessarily expository, but that's because I want to set it up so this can be made into a video that other people can watch. Okay, so I guess we'll get started. What you see before you is Corvanus. It is one of the continents on the world of Verum, which is in my custom setting of Verum, of all sorts of planets and galaxies and stuff like that. But essentially, this is where the current games are taking place. So, the current games take place within this continent, and there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of lore in Corvanus, and we're going to get right into it. We're going to start chewing on it. The biggest thing is a quick bit of history about Corvanus itself. So, this continent, for the last 500 years, has been in the rule of a tyrannical church known as the Church of Mytheria, which is centered here in power. Can you guys see my hand? My little hand mouse cursor? So that I can highlight stuff. Okay, good. All right. So, also, that's about a 20-second delay from me answering a question or from saying a question. So keep that in mind, guys, that there might be a slight delay between me speaking and stuff. Alrighty then. So, for the last 500 years, the continent of Corvanus has, to most extent, been ruled almost in its entirety by the Church of Mytheria. For real-life reference, imagine like the darker days of the Catholic Church with inquisitions and stuff like that. Specifically, the Church of Mytheria, in order to combat the existence of demons pouring from the demon wastes, enacted a practice of killing anyone or locking up anyone that was capable of using magic. Because by their method and logic, that the only way demons can come into the realm is if they are invited by a magic user. So, if you kill the magic users, then there's no way for demons to enter. Whether or not that was the correct path in terms of its effectiveness is up to the scholars to debate, because, regardless of whether or not you agree with it, it worked. The incursion of demons was reduced drastically, to the point to where now they can only truly be found in the demon wastes at the center of the map. This gave a lot of legitimacy and power to the Church of Mytheria, which, perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of corruption, your opinions may vary, they have conquered most of the continent, except for the far west, over here. However, due to the events of the end of the Violet Arc, for unknown reasons, Mytheria has fallen out of power. Her church has weakened its grip over the land, and for the first time in 5 centuries, there is a real power gap, an crevice in which any ambitious political entity might rise up and take the power that the church left behind. And that is the current story arc that we are in the middle of for Corvanus. And we're actually coming up on the end of the first story arc. So, lots of stuff to go over. I'm going to go through all the different pieces and all the different places. I'm going to try and explain what I can about each of the different places, give you a full rundown. And then at the end, we'll do some questions and answerings and stuff like that. Alrighty, so let's start down here. First of all, big shout out to Crimson Crow, who is the artist that drew this map for me. Let me do a quick showcase of all the details she put in here. I'm just doing a quick showcase of her artwork, because she did an amazing job on this map. Amazing. Okay, so the first region we're going to start with is the region known as the Free Cities. The Free Cities is composed of 3 cities. The first is Hailhorn to the far north, Twist River in the center, and then Saphira, the city of sapphires, to the south. So, as you can see, in Saphira, the city of sapphires is a large coastal port town. This is the main access point to Corvanus from the other continents. So those that brave the week of peace to cross the great abyssal ocean come here as the main port city and the open gate to the rest of Corvanus. As such, Saphira is a very rich city, rich enough that it is able to maintain its independence for quite some time, in fact. But now it is certainly the closest thing to an independent city as you could possibly find in Corvanus. And as such, many foreigners call this city their home whilst they are living in Corvanus. So this is where all of the races from the other continents can congregate and, to a certain extent, live and have access to. In fact, if you are a foreigner character, you are, by default, at least in some way, from Saphira, other than your own home that you're actually from. But upwards from Saphira, we have Twist River. So Twist River is the second most rich out of the three free cities, and as most of the free cities, amongst the richest. It specifically is called Twist River not only because the two main rivers that run through the center of Corvanus actually meet and twist together here, making it quite a potent trade and a travel center for anyone trying to quickly make their way across Corvanus. Twist River is also known as the City of Twin Gates, as two great water gates connect both of the rivers and separate them from each other. Twist River is ran by a merchant's council, much like the same thing as Saphira is, and they vote to make laws, and they run a sort of meritocracy sort of setup. To the north, you will find is the city of Hailhorn. Now, the city of Hailhorn is perhaps the least rich out of the three, but it is still a very rich city. It is known not only for its lumbering from its many high trees made of pine, but it also has access to a pretty unique setup. A great waterfall runs through Hailhorn on its western side from a pooled lake found within the mountains. Many mines also run alongside these mountains and create a singular forge, known as the Horn Forge. This forge uses mostly steam in order to run its mechanisms, and therefore it is actually one of the most developed cities in terms of industry and things like that. All right. Within the Free City section, you can see that there are several inns. There is Blackfield, a town known for its barley and wheat fields, called Blackfield because it was oftentimes attacked, and it was one of the rebellious points of the Free Cities fighting back against the Church of Mytheria. And during one of these attacks, all the fields were scorched by the church in order to try and starve out the towns. So, the citizens, when they recovered, decided to rename the town Blackfield in defiance against their would-be church masters. There is a large lake in the center called the Pride Lake, which has many secrets yet to be unveiled. Next is Riverton, a smaller village or moderately sized town filled with all sorts of water wheels that perform milling and all sorts of other industry setups as well. It is a very popular trade town for those that cannot make the trip all the way up to Twist River. And then finally, we have the taverns. Dagon's Rest, Blueberry Inn, and Moonshade Tavern are only one of many taverns that can be found along the way, along the various highways and paths. Moonshade, Blueberry, and Dagon's Rest are famous because they are amongst the most prominent, popular, and richest of these taverns and inns. Man, I felt like I did not do a good job explaining this. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done a big lore dump. But all right, any questions so far about the Free Cities? Maybe I should put some music in the background. There we go. Does Saphira have a connection to the blue? It does not. Some Ethereum music would be nice. Can the church be found in the free cities ever? Absolutely. The free cities are the free cities. They allow all sorts of religions to exist. Why is Saphira the only place foreigners come in at? It is the only one of the 3 free cities that has access to the ocean, or at least direct access. And the port of Saphira is big enough to hold the great ships that have to cross the abyss. Those ships wouldn't fit into the rivers. They would run aground. What are some notable people in the area? Well, there are many merchants. There are many noblemen. The councilman of Saphira, known as the... hold on, let me bring that up. Lord Everfrost is a prominent figure in Saphira, the city of sapphires, as Everfrost is not only one of the main council members, but he is a leading figure in promoting the peace and tranquility of the continent. Oftentimes you can see him fighting off his more warmongering or bloodthirsty council members from putting Saphira in the path to war. What about the political map of the free cities? Are there factions or something? What about its neighbors? So, each of the free cities, Saphira, Twist River, and Hailhorn respectively, they are city-states. They have their own dominion, and they have their own sovereignty. But they have a military alliance, which makes this region called the Free Cities. So they protect each other, and they have an alliance against any that would invade them. Arcadum, how does Saphira handle its waste? Do they have a sewer, or do they handle it in less pleasant ways? They have a sewer system that runs into the ocean. What are some unique masterwork properties that are only found at the free cities? Glinting would be one. Glinting gives attack bonuses if you're carrying a lot of gold. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else. What are the Anvanti Isles? So, the Anvanti Isles are the last of the native, are the last stronghold of the native peoples of Corvanus, known as the Anvanti. The Isles are the last refuge for their culture and are mostly populated by the natives that are not open to outsiders. There is a standing agreement between the Council of Saphira, City of Sapphires, and the Anvanti Isles that they are helped in their protection to maintain their sovereignty. Although the Anvanti Isles are often invaded by treasure seekers and adventurers seeking to learn the secrets of the Isle natives and what histories they have left behind. I know you said the Pride Lake ruins will be explored in-game, but is there a reason it's not explored by those of the Free City? Well, each of these places that are listed have been attempted to be explored by others, but it seems that they have not been successful as of yet. Alright, I think that's good for now. Kadam, how easy is it to tell that someone is a foreigner? Is it like how we lean on everything, or can we be less subtle? Well, you can tell that someone is a foreigner because of the way they carry themselves. Like, if I went to Japan, not only would I look different, but I'd act different too. Who do the Anvanti believe in? They believe in their 4 central spirits. So they have their own spiritualism. Okay. And this region, that is found to the west of the Free Cities, is the Twilight Hills. The Twilight Hills encompasses the city of Hillylocks, as well as the Leaky Bucket Inn and the Brass Baron Estate. The Twilight Hills are known as such because of the mineral veins that run within the hills that at night react with the night sky and create a deep inset of twinkling veins and shining rocks. Many people, even though they do mine these rocks sometimes, do try to keep a respectful birth of the Twilight Hills, as the locals believe that the twinkling lights are the spirits of their ancestors that are watching over them even to this time and this place. Hillylocks lives within the shade of the Sun Shadow Ruins, a mighty monastery that once existed in Corvanus that has long since fallen into ruins and has yet to be properly explored by brave adventurers. There is the Leaky Bucket Inn, famous for its traveling bards and for its less reputable denizens. Let's see. Up from that is the Brass Baron Estate. So the Brass Baron, as he calls himself, is a very recent political entity, as he was once just a simple noble of Dukeport. However, he has taken it upon himself to become something much, much more. To give you guys an idea, the Brass Baron is basically my version of Oda Nobunaga. Next up is the city of Dukeport, which belongs to the Weeping Lake region. The Weeping Lake region consists of Dukeport, Misty Vale, Haikio, and at the center, Isola. The Weeping Lake, being a massive lake, also is rumored to contain secrets hidden in the deep beneath its depths. Anything from rumored enormous serpents, giant crabs, and all sorts of other dangers are rumored to be found deep beneath the waves. Isola itself is also known as the Dark City, as Isola is the closest you could probably get to a city that has loose enough morals that, well, anybody of a certain kind of persuasion may be able to find a home there. It is also the home of the Weeping Blades, the Assassin's Guild of Corvanus. This not-so-unknown secret guild has been used many times by powerful nobles in order to try and remove rivals. The Weeping Blades can be found all throughout Isola and are protected by the Duke of Isola by turning a blind eye. And then finally is Haikio, a town that is ruled by a man named Lord Tai, who is a foreigner from Glaeus, and who has built this small, humble, but hard-working town in the misted shadow of the great mountains of the west. There's a character called the Brass King during the tier arc, correct? Yes. Okay, so, any questions about the Twilight Hills or the Weeping Lake region? Aikyo Tai uses the same picture as someone else from Glaeus. Was that his father or just reused art? That's just reused art. What's the lore of the Sun Shadow Ruin? So, the lore of the Sun Shadow Ruin is that before Mytheria rose to power, Corvanus was ruled by many individualistic political entities, either by the city-states themselves or by powerful warlords that were able to control the territory around them. The Sun Shadow Ruins ruled the area to the southern tip of the Weeping Lake, and it was ruled by the monks that lived there. They followed the monastic tradition, and they had a council of elders. However, as Mytheria rose to power, the Sun Shadow Ruins was nearly destroyed, and the monks disappeared, and no one knows what happened. Is the Weeping Lake considered dangerous to traverse? It is. What is the strangest creature that can be caught in the Weeping Lake? These hands. What unique masterwork property and materials can be found in the area? The soul stones that can be mined from the Twilight Hills, and various other minerals found there. Considering the mountains to the west, how's the climate in this region? The climate in this region is heavy humidity, mists, and oftentimes cold fronts that come pouring down over the mountains. General question. I have enjoyed your campaigns when the parties end up governing the area. Did you or will you post something on how you handle those types of campaigns since they're so different? That depends entirely on how popular the YouTube series gets. The more YouTube stuff I do, I might do another video for the first draft series. Arcadum, what is an astral dragon doing in Haikyō? What a great question. Arcadum, what kind of masterwork smithing and stone cutting kilts can be found in the Weeping Lake region? Well, there is one. Well, there's a smithing tool set that can make an advanced form of hollow called Weeping that can be put into weapons, which gives them an even more effective use of poison. How did the Brass Baron get his estate in the first place? Well, the Brass Baron is a noble of Dukeport. He inherited it from his father, as his father before him. Arcadum, what's Isola's origin or its background? Settling in an island with a dangerous lake couldn't have been easy. Correct. That's because they didn't settle there. The people that moved into Isola and built the city built it on top of ruins that were already there. Ruins whose true nature and past are veiled in secrecy. Surely there won't be any campaign that will explore that, winky face. Is Isola on a large enough island to sustain itself well, or is it very reliant on imports? Well, it can sustain itself in terms of fishing and stuff like that, but it still needs to trade. What types of rocks and minerals can be found here compared to other areas on Corvanus? Well, the Twilight Hills have a rare mineral, one that's not really found anywhere else. And I suppose there are the secrets of the Weeping Lake's depths that could be searched and explored. Arcadum, is there going to be another campaign with OTV? That is entirely up to them. It is not up to me. I would love to, but, you know. Alrighty, let's move up. So now we're going to talk about the Misted Lands. The lands far to the west. So the Misted Lands is a pretty large region filled with dense jungles and verdant life. It is also the home of the elves of Corvanus, and it is the only place that the Church of Mytheria could not really get a foothold in, and as such it is considered a sanctuary for those that consider themselves apostates. However, there's no such thing as a free lunch, because even here there are politics and rules that have to be followed. Most notably, there are 3 major druidic factions that rule this area, and each of them have different requirements, different castes, and ultimately different belief structures. There are 3 major settlements. There is Cathernagloin, which is the city of glass, Doris no Bilatal, which is the city of spirits, and then there is Olean Drokta, which is the Isle of Mana. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions about the Misted Lands, go ahead. Do people hunt the giant crabs like whalers to whales? Yeah. Has the Calcutetian Elven Empire ever tried to connect to the City of Glass? That is a great question that I cannot answer here, as that is a major plot point of one of the upcoming campaigns. Ausful. Unique flora or fauna from the Misted Lands. Oh man, all kinds of stuff can be found there. Rare herbs, rare flowers, plant creatures that can produce all sorts of salves, and there's just a lot of stuff there. I'll pick one at random. There is the Moonflower that can be found in the canopy on the northern side of the Misted Lands. That is very, very similar to how the Frost Flowers operate and the northern side near the Endless White. They only open up during a specific time of night. It is said that they collect the might of the moon, and a single moonflower has the potency to restore magic to someone that has expended their allotment of it. Why is the haunted coast of the southern coast of the Misted Land haunted? That is a great question, and one that will be explored potentially by another campaign. But the easiest thing for me to say is that Graveyard Harbor is haunted because of a single elven woman driven to madness. What unique masterwork properties and materials can be found in this area? Well, Moonveld is the property that can be found in this area, which gives different bonuses at night. How did the elves get there? So, it is known that different races came to Corvanus at different times and settled different areas. The true natives are the Anvanti. The elves came over from Calcatesh, but that is all I can say. Why is it called the Misted Lands? Are the jungles misty? Yes. Arcadum, what are the factions' relationship with each other inside the Misted Lands? Well, the factions do work together to maintain order and to protect the Misted Lands, but they have very different ideas on how to accomplish that. What's this? Just got a recommendation from YouTube and it seems interesting. Well, Jalerty, I am Arcadum, and I am a full-time professional dungeon master, and this is the current continent that I'm running for all of my D&D games. Well, most of them. And I'm currently doing a lore dump as my first YouTube stream. So if you have any questions, or if you just want to sit down and chill, feel free to. Any subclasses that you can hint at from here? Something very similar to a Blade Dancer is certainly going to be a part of it. Are the mists of the Misted Lands related at all to the mists of Glaeus? Maybe. Maybe not. I guess you'll have to find out, won't you? Alright, that should be good for the Misted Lands. And now we move to the Broken Oaks region, which has only really one island of civility, and that is the Lonely Inn. Ruled by Elrond Truefire, a retired adventurer has opened this massive inn, and it works also as the unofficial adventuring guild of Corvanus. And so, the Broken Oaks, known as such because it was once a verdant, beautiful forest of oak trees and all sorts of other plant life, long since destroyed by an unknown catastrophe and a curse that permeates the land from the place known as the Broken Brothers, where 4 great insidious towers rise above the rest of the shattered forest. Alright, if you have any questions about the Broken Brothers, or excuse me, the Broken Oaks, please ask. Arcadum, where is Gabe Big Deal? Where he needs to be. What were the groves of the Broken Oaks like before they became broken? It was a beautiful forest, rich with all sorts of meadows and clearing and resources. It was explored by nature goers and rangers, and it was a fairly safe place in which to travel. However, over time, it became riddled with bandits, and that is actually the reason that the Lonely Inn was originally built, as a safe place and a central point in which people in the area could feel safe and spread out and protect themselves from bandits. However, an unknown catastrophe ripped the forest apart, and while everyone else, the towns that had once existed there, the small villages, abandoned the Broken Oaks, one man did not, and that is Elrond Truefire. What happened to Balrock? His story has yet to be finished. Alright. Next up, we'll take a look at the Razor Cliffs. So, the Razor Cliffs are known as such because they are in slight elevation with sharp shale rocks broken and twisted along the side of its coastline. The coast itself is unforgiving, with very few places to birch and dock. It is filled with 3 cities that are legendary for their warriors and indeed equally as such for their aggression. Gwen's Gambit, Edgington, and Lafayette have long since fought each other as rivals along the sacred stones at the center of the cliffs. However, their ancient traditions and their subsequent service to the Church of Mytheria were all interrupted by a singular tower that seemed to appear out of nowhere, emanating a storm of terrible magic, not of demons, but of the undead. Corpses walked and rose from the strange murky marsh that surrounds the tower and pushed out amongst the razor cliffs. In the modern day of Corvanus, the 3 cities, along with their alliance with the church, have dedicated themselves to the scientific study and the defeat of the undead menace. However, the Wayward Tower still remains unconquered, its power not to be toyed with. All right. If there's any questions about the Razor Cliffs, feel free to ask. How did the liches at the Wayward Tower come to be? That is a question I cannot answer, and there may or may not be liches there. What happened to Vampire Mommy? She escaped. Would sins of the father have died there? Yes. Yes, they would have. Violently. Painfully. You confirmed that during Court of Curses. Did I? What minor factions can be found in the Razor Cliffs? Purge Brigade, Practitioners. Practitioners is the main minor faction that can be found there. Why is it called the Razor Cliffs? Because the cliffs are made out of shale, hard and kind of shatterable rock, which breaks into sharp edges. Has the Wayward Tower tried to incursion into the Misted Lands? Ironically, no. None of the undead seem to have made their way into the Misted Lands. When did the tower appear, or how long ago was it discovered? The tower appeared shortly before the fall of Mytheria's strength. Are the coasts safe from the undead as people travel the northern trade lines? For the most part. Although some sailors swear to the Lady Mytheria that they have heard knocking on the bottom of the hull of their ships and other spooky things like that. Okay. Well, I think that'll do it for the Razor Cliffs. Next we have is the Twisting Pines, which is a small region compared to some of the others that contains no formal political structure or any political entity. However, the Twisting Pines are rumored to be filled with all sorts of remnants of the old dwarven cities, orcish tribes, and of course, hidden hermits rumored to contain the secrets of Corvanus. Do you have any creatures that would sit here other than the basic animals and whatnot? I'm not sure what you mean. Whoops. Cultural features of this region. What about its denizens' customs? Of which region? Technically, the Twisting Pines doesn't have denizens other than some sparse orc tribes. Mostly the Twisting Pines are filled with the trader orc tribes. But there are a couple that are good. Any people of note in this area? Thane Shadestone is a prominent member in this area, as well as there's a few other adventurers that have made their way through here, but most of the time, no. There is no one notable here. Twisting Pines is true wilderness. What do you mean by trader orc tribes? So, the orc tribes of Corvanus have a little bit of demonic corruption in them, which is why they're orcs. This is because they are elves that lived within the mountains surrounding the demon wastes. This corruption has made them resistant to demonic attack and even specialized and able to deal with them. The evil and almost primal nature of the demon's magic has made them a bit more savage compared to the more, quotations, civilized races. But the orcs decided long ago, when many of their main chieftains met at the Great Stone Mook, they decided that they would fight the demons and resist the corruption, that they would show the world that they were more than something to be feared. And over the course of their time, they have done a very good job of doing so. So much so that the church does not consider them evil or demonic, but they do consider them expendable, useful cannon fodder when fighting demons. However, some orcs do not agree with this birthright of being warriors against the shadow, to die at a demon's claws. They instead choose to flee and make their own path. These are referred to as the traitor tribes, and many of them succumb to the natural evil in their blood, no longer having anything to focus their killing instinct on that deserves it, like demons. Many of them eventually turn towards attacking and raiding the nearby towns and settlements, and even practicing the evil art of cannibalism. That is what a trader orc tribe is. Okay, so next is the Endless White. The Endless White is a massive tundra filled with icy isles that move amongst glaciers, and an open tundra and white crested top mountains known as the King Rest Mountains. But secluded away at the top of this mountain range lies the great city of Mournhowl, writ from stone and hewn from rock, the impenetrable, indefeatable, indestructible city of Mournhowl, lords over all within the mountains. It is here a culture of commitment to one's family, and indeed the importance of the ancestral spirit, was a practice that was adopted for many in Mournhowl, the center of civilization in this area, are able to see the great lights that appear along the edge of the horizon and the coldest places in the Endless White. Early Mournhowlians believed that this meant that the people that came before, their ancestors, were waiting for them in the sky. And it was believed that forging a weapon while the metal could see these colors would be infused with the remnants of your past. This belief eventually evolved into the art of heirloom weaponry, where it was believed that a person's soul was contained with the weapon given to them by their parents, or inherited to them by their parents. And that is where that practice came from. Also, eventually, the importance of history and of the past became so paramount that some sought to dedicate themselves to it by weaving a great tale called a saga and imparting it with songs, wisdom, and historical recountings. And in order to maintain these many stories and histories of the world, a college was created of those with the mind clever enough, sharp enough, and open enough to track the vestiges of history honestly and to be added to the sagas. And so, the College of Sagas was born. Are there any questions about the Endless White? Can Mornhowl beat the church? It's not clear. Mornhowl is powerful enough that the church decided to make a treaty with them instead of attacking them. Are there ice dragons? What an interesting question. Dragons do exist in Corvanus, although they are very rare, and many believe they don't exist. How is stealing an Ermlin weapon treated? Well, how do you think stealing a soul would be treated? Not good. Is being a bard illegal by the church? Not if you're a bard of the Bard's College and therefore fall under the official treatise of the Pale City and Mornhowl. However, using magic willy-nilly is something that the church isn't going to be okay with. And when you're out in the middle of the road and far away from Mornhowl, the law doesn't really protect you as long as they don't find out about it. How concentrated is the population of the Endless White? Are there notable settlements outside of the Mornhowl? There is not a lot of population in the Endless White, and the only other notable settlement is the Frozen Flower Inn. Are there records of explorations of the Ice Under? There are not. Why are cannibalistic orc tribes resistant to the Wendigo curse? That's a great question. It is because they are already cursed. Some curses don't mix. Does that mean skinwalkers are safe from it as well? I did not say that. That is a question I can't really answer. Something you're going to have to find out. Alrighty, I think that'll do for Mornhowl. Next up we have is the ice flows. This represents an area of the Endless White meeting with the temperate sort of area of the Pale City, creating a sort of sub-region in which two major towns can be found, Deadman's Flow and Shickletown. It is in this strange place where a sort of odd criminal overflow has occurred. The Pale City and Mornhowl, their treatise means that many times their active forces, in order to be safe not to cross the treaty, tend to not enforce the laws of each other upon the Dead Man's Flow or the Shickletown or the people in the region. As such, this has led to a rather strange kind of legal oasis where many of the laws of these two great establishments don't apply, for there is no one that can enforce them without risking, war. So, there's a lot of criminals that live in Shickletown and Dead Man's Flow because the people there tend to not ask any questions. Arcadum, how come you're so awesome? Can you stop it? You're making some of us look bad. No, I don't think that, man. Anybody can do what I'm doing. You just do it. Hey, Arcadum, I just want to thank you for helping me discover my love of D&D and world building. It had a big impact on my life. I discovered you through Broken Bonds many years ago, and I'm glad I did. Hey, that's really good to hear, Erithiel. Happy to be of service. I hope I continue to be of service. It would be nice to run for streamers again, but I understand. Alright, any other questions about the ice flows? Alright, doesn't look like it. So, okay. Man, did you guys hear that timing on that music switch? That's great. Where is the most well-known brothel in Corvanus located? In the Pale City. It is called the... what is it? The Veil of Sanctioned Whispers, I believe, is the name of the brothel. But it is actually in the Pale City. Bye? Are you going somewhere, Rithiel? Oh, that music just cut off. Did I literally get... yes. Anyway. Alright, so the Pale City is the central point of power for the Church of Mytheria, and indeed is comprised of the highest level of population density. It is the richest city, and it is incredibly powerful. There are also several points of interest, such as the Broken Horn, the First Prayer Cathedral, the Mausoleum of Saints, and the many, many, many people that live within the Pale City. Who did the cartography? The cartography was done by a community member named Crimson Crow, a fantastic artist. She is very great. She's awesome. So, are there any questions about the Pale City? What's the First Prayer Cathedral's lore? So, as much as I can tell you about it is that the First Prayer Cathedral is believed to be where Mytheria ascended to goddesshood. It is where the first prayers, it is believed, were given to her, and it is the point of her ascension, and a church was built on top of it. It's also the first church of the Church of Mytheria. Where can you find crawdads on Corvanus, the Fallow Lands? What are the church's opinions on the fact that Mytheria stopped answering their prayers or talking to them? What do you mean? Mytheria answers all of our prayers. She gives us power, and we are guided by her saints and her holy books. are ordained church casters branded. They are collared. What is the broken horn? The broken horn was an old fortress that was the actual point in which the old king of Mornhal and Mytheria herself settled their feud. What's the city's main exports and imports? Its main export is justice and righteousness, and its imports are everything that they need to maintain justice and righteousness. Also apostates. What can you say about the Mausoleum of Saints? The Mausoleum of Saints is the official cemetery where Mytheria's followers are buried, at least her original followers. It is where all of her disciples and saints that assisted her during the time of her rise and conquering of Corvanus, where they are all buried in a place of honor. How do the Mytherians perceive the sudden loss of power and influence from 40 years ago? The church's answer is that there is no loss of power, and that what is happening is just simply the tide of change that needs to be corrected. Any approximate number of inhabitants? There's about 35,000 people that live in the Pale City, I think is what I wrote up. Or, okay, actually that's wrong. There's 35,000 in the city center, and there's about 50,000, like in all the villages outside. It's a lot of fucking people. That doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, this is like, Middle Ages time. 200,000 people is a lot of fucking people. Why is the College of Sagas missing so many sagas? What happened that they lost so much? What a great question that I'm sure may or may not be explored by certain campaigns. What is the Pale City's biggest trade? They trade in marble and apostates. Which player character in Corvanus is most famous? I don't think anybody has actually started gathering fame yet, with the possible exception of Vale, who has the chance to get prestige, but hasn't generated anything from it yet. Also, Chrome, I guess. Chrome has a chance of generating prestige from all the shit he's done. Why did Mytheria suppress the knowledge of the Seven from Corvanus? Because it is heresy. Arcadum, what is the most prominent religion of this particular region? The Church of Mytheria. Are sagas practiced anywhere other than Corvanus? Yes, and I cannot explain any more than that. To be clear, when you say most famous character, there is an actual mechanic called fame. So, all right. Looks like everybody's done with Pale City. So now we're moving on down to the Fallow Lands. So, the Fallow Lands are a massive swamp found to the eastern section of Corvanus, and it contains, well, basically the bones of an entire kingdom that once ruled the east. It is filled to the brim with all sorts of forgotten castles, broken forts, and the remnants of the once leader of Aldafife, the Barrow King. Right now, the largest city is called Aldafife, the old capital. And there are others, such as Whisperwood and Dark Lake, which contain, and also various other villages and things like that found within the swamp. So, any questions about the Fallow Lands? Is it possible for a PC to become a chosen of Mytheria? Yes. But right now, those slots are filled. So one would be able to stipulate or extrapolate that the only way you could become one is if one of those slots became vacant. Arcadum, are there other major spirits like the Wide Fraud King Moist One? Yes. Why is the veil thinner in the Fallow Lands? That is a great question. So, I can't say too much because it'll be kind of spoilery, but the best I can say is that the old kingdom that used to be in the Fallow Lands was a magical practicing kingdom. And it is believed that the swamp reacted to this magic, pulling at the veil and making it thinner. What stops the local powers from excavating the remnants of the old kingdom? Alligators, disease, exposure, roving dead, and terrible other creatures that exist. We know of the Smiling Knight and the Weeping Knight. Can you say how many knights there are? There are 4 chosen of Mytheria. Is there a prominent archaeological group focused in researching the Fallow Lands? For the most part, yes. That's the IRL group. So I run a group in IRL, and they actually play tomorrow. That's what their group is doing, is they are focused on the entire area of the Fallow Lands. What is the favorite pastimes of the people in the Fallow Lands? Whittling, music. They're really big on music. And they very much enjoy food. Basically, New Orleans. Why has the Barrow King been dormant for centuries? The better question is how is he awake now? Where's the nearest McDonald's? I don't see it on the map. Turn around and go back 100 feet. You'll find it. Oh, unfortunately, the stream tomorrow is not. The game tomorrow is not streamed. Unfortunately, it's my IRL game. Arcadum, can you recommend one of your more recent campaign arcs for me to watch? If you want to immediately catch up to the Corvanus storyline, my advice is to start with the game Bound and Broken, and also if you want to watch through YouTube, my wonderful YouTube team, and with special shout out to Storm Edge. They are working diligently to get all those YouTube videos of all the games I've ran so far out and available for people to watch. If you want to watch them right now, you'll have to go to my Twitch channel and you'll have to watch the VODs there. Any reason there is no ocean route from Whisperwood to the north? Because it is not big enough to support ships. Okay, that's a pretty good spot. Now we're going to move down to the Three Kings. Arguably one of the largest regions. So, the Three Kings is different from the Free Cities, as each of the Three Kings are not only city-states, but they actually have more traditional political lines. They are more than city-states, although they do have capitals. And they are Shade Row, or the Regency of Shade Row, Flanderton, or the Kingdom of Flanderton, and Saltbriar, or the Collective of Saltbriar. Each of these three kings, as they are called, rule their respective shared area of this region, and until recently were bitter rivals, even more so than the free cities, and were completely content with beating the shit out of each other. But now that the church has lost its grip, they have finally wisened up and decided to ally themselves with each other in the hopes to keep the church from pressing in on their territory any more than they already have. So, Shade Row is found within the copse of the trees, the copse of the forest known as the Three Kings Forest, and they have the main economy of lumbering and woodworking and things like that, and are very, very enriched by it, as the Pale City constantly needs their wood for construction. Flanderton is a hive of scum and villainy, ruled by a Don. Even though he is called something else, many know him to be a criminal lord. And Flanderton specializes in selling one thing and one thing only, and that is the milk of the poppy. Poppy fields can be found to the northeast and south, or northwest and southeastern sections of Flanderton, and they make an enormous amount of the drug, basically supplying all of Corvanus with it. And then finally, Saltbriar controls the entirety of the Silver Coast and its trade. Imagine, if you will, a collective of pirate captains. That's basically what Saltbriar is. And the Silver Coast is known as such because this is where all the silver salt can be found within Corvanus, mined directly from these gigantic collections of salt that take on a silvery sheen to its name. Okay, any questions about the Three Kings? Ever I had, you spent it in good. Hold on, let me make sure this isn't. Oh, this is the royalty-free vocal version. Okay, it better be royalty-free. I'm not looking to get banned. This is such a weird version. Is this an AI singing this? This is freaking me out. Alright, sorry. I was like, this is weird. Anyway. Let's see. What unique fighting styles will you see in the Three Kings? Well, it depends on which king. Shade Row, you can see that there are some really cool bow staff fighting, like quarterstaff based fighting styles. Flanderton has a fighting style that has to deal with rapiers and using drugs, which is pretty sick. And Saltbriar is got one of the coolest fighting styles, which is a dual scimitar fighting style called the Silver Wind. It's pretty fucking sick. What is so special about silver salt? It is one of the only naturally occurring elements that has magic within it. And it's one of the few that the church doesn't outright ban, although it is a controlled substance. Why is it named the Three Kings if they are separate or far away? Were they once a singular kingdom? Yes and no. You see, the history is that they were once one kingdom, ruled by 3 brothers and their father. When the father died, each of the 3 brothers claimed the throne, for they were triplets. They could not come to an agreement on whom would rule in their father's stead, and so the kingdom shattered into the 3 kings. So, is there a trading port in the Fallow Lands? Well, there's a minor one, which is Whisperwood. What is the most dangerous place to be in Corvanus? Here. Here. Right here. How many generations ago was the shattering of the 3 brothers? Oh, that was ancient. That's like 600-700 years ago. Oh, that's true. The Wayward Tower is also pretty fucking bad, but this is definitely more threatening. Okay. Here we go. Any other questions about the 3 kings? Not really, if level 1s can survive for days. Alright, well, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. Do the 3 kings inherit anything from the Fallow Lands of the Old Kingdom? That is a great question, and one that you can kind of put together. If you kind of look, you can see that the changing of these 2 biomes almost seems a little unnatural. A lot more to explore. Alrighty then. And then finally, the Demon Wastes. Okay, so there's a lot here that I can't talk to you guys about because there's a lot of secrets here. But the most that I can say is that the Demon Wastes is the, I guess you could consider it the functional antagonists region. It is the focal point of most of the evil of Mytheria, and indeed, if they went to the Wayward Tower, they were 100% dead if they TP there. Yes, that's because of the area that they would have teleported to. That's why they would have instantly died. If they had been outside the Wayward Tower, it would have been a different thing. Pretty fucking dangerous, possibly killed, but Demon Waste is more dangerous. Evil of Mytheria? Well, that depends on whether or not you think Mytheria is evil, but anyway, as I was saying, the Demon Wastes is filled with all sorts of dangers. Not only demons, but also a constant state of corruption that pulses through the area. Corruption that, if left untreated, can over time cause transformation into orcs at best and demons at worst. So, within this region also is Demon's Deep, the ancient dwarven citadel hidden beneath the Blacktop Mountains. It is here, on the Bridge of Shadows, that the dwarves have dedicated themselves to fighting off the demonic menace from moving into the rest of the realms from underground, as this is the only underground access point the demons currently have access to. Some demons attempt to cross the mountains in order to get into the other areas, but that's what the orc tribes are for. And they fight very hard to keep them dead. And then finally, there is the Plateau of Tears, this massive area here in the entrance point to the Demon Wastes, which is currently held by a great barrier of Mytheria's grace and powered by 3 fortresses, Mytheria's Sword, Mytheria's Eye, and Mytheria's Shield. And it is here, along this line, that demons claw and test the goddess's power, and for the most part, are kept back. However, there are some priests, as blasphemous as it might be, that whisper that the barrier grows weaker with each passing day. And so, that's about the extent that I can tell you in the Demon Waste. But if you have questions, I'll try to answer them. Does Demon's Deep have access to the Astral Dark? No. Well, not that they know of, at least. Is anyone else seeing emotes pop up on the right side? I cannot answer that, Owlsful. Is there any city in the Demon Wastes? I cannot answer that. Oh, that's Chad doing that? Okay, that's kind of cool. What can you say about the Silent Faces? The Silent Faces is just the name of a mountain range. It is called that because there are many faces that are etched into the side of those mountains. No one really knows who made them, though. Any difference between the 3 fortresses of Mytheria's operations? Only in so much as the sex of the different sects of Mytheria, what they focus on. Sword being military and punishment, the Eye being espionage and accusation, and the Shield being protection of the people. What were the wastes pre-demons? Can't answer that question. What is the Black Hand? I cannot answer that question. Like I said, there's a lot of secrets here and a lot of questions that I can't answer because they'd be super mixed spoilery. Has the demonic exposure changed any of the mountain ranges' flora or fauna? Absolutely. What does the Demon Waste smell like? Sulfuric. A slight rotten egg smell. It's almost as if there's something always burning, but you can't quite see where it's coming from. And I guess it also depends on where you are. Like, this is going to smell like tar because it's a giant tar pit. Alrighty. And that'll conclude the Demon Wastes. And I think that is everywhere. I think we hit everywhere. What's the zone level for the Demon Wastes? Not good. Alrighty. Well, that's it for the lore tour, I guess. What do you guys think about this format of going through like different lore points and just answering questions and stuff? I had a note, like a list on the side of what questions were asked, but there were so many being asked I didn't really have time to type it out. But I'm sure mods and stuff will go through this and type up that stuff for me. I just couldn't do it on the fly because I was fucking. There was a lot more interaction in this than I thought there was going to be, honestly. How many people are even watching? Is it a lot? I don't even know where to check that. No. 40 people? Well, I wasn't sure what I was going to expect there, but anyway. But yeah, I had a pretty good time. I think if I keep... maybe I'll make this a common thing. Because this is my day off, but it'd be nice to stream some more stuff. I have to think about it, though. Always Q&A for these streams? Probably. Return of the update streams? I guess I could do that, yeah. I've got a lot of things planned for the next phase of all the Corvanus story arcs. I really hope people are going to enjoy them because I'm really trying to tell a broader story, maybe not so much higher on like the world shattering. There's so much shit going on, but I really want to like give people a more regional experience. When do the games on this land start? They've already started. We're actually finished we're finishing up our first story arc soon. And our second story arc are going to be starting up here pretty soon. The Corvanus streams have been a blast. I think something I'm really looking forward to is the general Q&A starting now. Yeah, soon. I just wanted to finish this one last thought. I was thinking to myself on what I'm going to do with the new arcs, and I think one thing I'm really looking forward to is just kind of seeing people pick a faction or create their own faction. That's kind of the focal point of the next story arc, because then that'll settle. Because by this time, people will have figured out at least enough about Corvanus to know which side they want to be on what's coming up, right? And I think once people settle into these factions, then I could have these really wider sweeping but still regional based storylines. I don't know. I think it's been going pretty well. I think it's good for the players. I'm not sure how the viewers feel about it, but I know that the players seem to be enjoying it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we can do general Q&A now. So, yeah. General AMA time. Ask me anything. Let's chill. Would you ever consider doing a Baldur's Gate 3 with Twitch enabled for Community Day? I don't know, man. Maybe. That would take a lot of time and effort, and I don't know. I don't know anybody. I don't think people would really watch that because I'd be competing with so many people, and I don't know. It's pretty... I don't know, man. Maybe. Maybe not. What is the max level for Corvanus? Right now it's level 5. How much do they cost? There's a lot of Masterwork healing kits. I can get you a full list later. How much they're going to cost a lot though, like 200 gold. Or 200 extra gold, I should say. Does Corvanus share a calendar with Calcatesh? Yes, it does. And it's approximately 40-ish years after the events of the Violet Arc. What is your favorite or least favorite standard 5e class to play and why? I love Bard. My least favorite is probably Druid. I don't really know why. I don't think Druids are bad or anything. I just... not my thing, I guess. Do you expect to return to Calcatesh, Conflux, Glaeus, or other continent after Corvanus? I don't know yet. I might go back to Conflux. I might run a campaign in the Yggdrasil Isles. I don't know. I'm still focused on Corvanus for another year and a half, so... What are some of the coolest, most fun masterwork qualities, fighting styles, or regional items you've made? I think Cestus are pretty fucking good. I think if anybody ever unlocks it, the Twin Blade fighting style was awesome. Yeah, a lot of cool shit. Is there art for the Brass Baron? No official art yet. Would you be able to tell us what happened over all in the real life game? Which one? The one that ended or the new one that had just started? How complex is the crafting in Corvanus? It's very complex. How do you get the Twin Blades? First, you have to find Twin Blades, get proficiency with them, and then train in the fighting style with them. Have you been exercising a lot lately? More than I was. Not as much as I should. Some is better than none. Keep it up. Thanks, guys. How much does it cost to get extra kit proficiencies in cities? You can't do that. You can retrain ones you already have. What is your favorite Corvanus class? I don't know. I don't know. How long does it take to gain skill focus or skill mastery? It takes levels to do that. You can retrain ones you already have into others, and that takes time depending on how different they are. See you later, Egg. Will levels past 5 get more kit proficiencies? Depends on the feats you take. But I mean, they can, is what I'm saying. They can, yeah. Remember that named Glassberger? How he's doing? He's, you know, he's going. What other titles is Matheria known by? The Weeping Maiden, the Sun Smile. I'm gonna write out a whole thing whenever I drop her official lore. So it's gonna be one of the things I'll be doing. Can you give us a preview of the feats that will be available? Soon, but not yet. There's going to be a lot of them. Will you ever finish the YouTube tutorial series for DMs? I'm sure people can learn a lot from them, like this one, First Draft, How to Write a D&D Center Story. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm planning on doing now that I'm doing some YouTube stream. I mean, I'm trying to get back up on the horse and do more, you know. I do want to finish it. I do want to do more, but I'm going to need I don't have the editors I had before, so I'm going to need people to help me with that. You know, plus there's also all the hateful comments that fill it up, so, you know, those are the only comments that I really read out of the YouTube videos, because I wanted to be able to talk shop with people in them, but, you know. What would be the Taladani reaction to the current state of magic in Corvanus? What action would they take? I can't answer that. There are 3 sects of the church, but 4 chosen. Are they all a part of the sword? What a great question. That sounds like something you should check out in-game. How many campaigns are still ongoing and completed their arc? All of them? What's your favorite region in Corvanus? I really like the Three Kings. I think I did a good job. I think the cultures there are really cool, and just I really like it. I really like the Three Kings. What is the strongest monster in Corvanus? Not you. Alrighty. Is there a holiday to celebrate Camp Last Stand's victory? Yes, but no one in Corvanus knows it. Unfortunately, it seems like the Twitch VODs only go back to around 12 to 13. Don't worry, we have the videos go for it, and we'll be putting them up for you. For everyone. Foreigners know, but to celebrate it is pretty heretical, so. But it is called the Day of Light. Anyway. Well, I think that's about all the energy I have. Good times, guys. I think this went well. I do think this went well. Yeah. Yeah, I think this went well. Maybe if I keep streaming some more on YouTube, maybe I can get some, I don't know, more exposure at what I'm doing and get some more people interested. That'd be nice. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all the support. Are there subs on YouTube? Like, does that even work? I don't think anybody subbed or anything. But if you did, thank you. They're called members. It doesn't announce it, but there are. It doesn't show if somebody's a member or not. How do I check that? Oh, it's something I have to set up. Ah, I see. All right, well, I'll do that for next time then. But thank you for all the support, guys. Hugs / and/or kisses. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Whew. Now what am I going to do? Well, probably just hang out in the Discord, I guess. I don't know.